Now, before we get into this video, I'm going to just have to answer immediately because I know people are going to ask me. I have heard about the rumors that Build King was getting axed next issue. Nothing from any official sources so far, so I'm just going to wait. If it does, then, that's out of my control. I'm just going to keep going until the end because I genuinely do like it. And then getting back to the chapter itself, I was actually really hyped in this chapter. The explanation of what Gold Vigor does is actually really interesting. So, the chapter immediately begins where we left off. Tonkachi says he's going to start the construction of Building Peace, and Haka is realizing that Tonkachi is using Gold Vigor. And then a nice spread cover. You have pretty much the main cast, I would assume. I was surprised Bar was in there, if Bar's going to stick with the other characters. But the other people are pretty much who I assume we're going to be in here. Like, we have Cork, we have Eliki, we've got Konichika, and then, Renga and Tonkachi. But you still have Konichika and Renga running from this big build soldier. And again, I really like the design of it. It just looks spooky. I love this. This is one of those things that would look, I think, really good as like as a figure. Like if you just anything where it's more of like the kind of like still motion ones of just whatever this would look like, this weird monster house. But there's some dude coming out here trying to throw a net because they still want to capture Renga, and then Nana comes in actually and using his whip splits one of like the tendrils off of the build soldier. I like that Nana's doing his thing. He's been very backseat most of the series, so it's nice to see him actually jump into action. We have I think what was her name, Akana, the really tall lady. She's got her own really weird technique. She's got like nail spit where she crystallizes vigor from her on her tongue and just shoots it out like like a little javelin and just pierces up all these dudes. I don't remember what the water dude's name is, but he makes like blue mist with his vigor, and so it just makes it so people can't breathe. Pretty unfair ability for to have early there. And then the dude from the idol group, though, is the builders with the Z. He just makes tools and then has like his vigor do certain things with each finger. I think it's actually really cool. He's got one where it's like he's just doing like a wiring, so it's just creating like essentially like a tether of his vigor, which is pretty neat. I wonder, like, he's essentially gonna be like the Super MacGyver of their series, I would assume, or something kind of like that. I don't think we're gonna see a lot of this guy. It's not a very impressive, I think, large scale. It just looks like it's just a super useful one to have around. I don't know, maybe he's more of a fighter and these guys were just too easy for him. But after that point, there's this whole comment about like someone talking to Cork about Tonkachi and Renga, and they're like, just who and what are they? Because both of them have huge vigors. Now, when it came to the theories, I thought initially it was like you were gonna have maybe like black and white vigor between Tonkachi and Renga, and I thought Tonkachi was gonna get black and Renga would get white. And then my other like paired group theory was the silver and gold, but it looks like I'm kind of half and half, because I got Tonkachi with gold but Renga with black, which was a huge surprise in this. But like Gold Vigor's really cool, and just the description of it, how it's the vigor essentially of evolution, and it's just talking about how it eventually it's a vigor that eventually grows into a living creature, essentially. So it's almost like self-aware, like Tonkachi's vigor, which is actually really creepy. Probably in what that could lead to. Is he gonna get like some Venom suit style thing where his vigor can talk to him or something? But they're just saying it's a homeostasis that could almost never lose itself, because they describe it's so weird because the way they describe it is homeostasis is just like this status in the series. So it's a fumble trying to work it into a sentence all the time, but essentially how it'll never just lose its homeostasis, so it'll always just be unaging, unmoving. It'll never rot or get sick or anything. So essentially you become immortal and like invincible, I would assume, at the same time, if you can't get sick or anything. But then you have this really cool looking panel with Haka. I really like Haka's hairstyle and the way that it's kind of like moving around, almost like if he was like a Gorgon, like with some snake hair. It's all like kind of just like shifting around, and then he uses Luck Chisel because he says that he also has like a special vigor, because outside of the basic ones there are just these very strange rare ones, kind of like Smith's Rainbow Vigor. You know, Tonkachi's got gold. Haka has Luck Vigor. I really wonder how exactly that comes into play in its ability. Like, would it just make it so it's like you have a good lucky chance to break somebody's durability or something, or break through their homeostasis or something like that? The attack itself was big too, because it bounced off Tonkachi. It still did damage, but the card, like well, they look like cards, but essentially they're chisels of vigor. They just shoot out, and then they bounce off Tonkachi and slice up this like huge cliffside behind him, just completely shreds it. And Tonkachi gets up, and he ends up making his vigor hammer at 50 meters, and Haka's just like, he's in mid-fight, he's just like, he's evolving. And then we get back to the stuff with the nail mole. So I assume that Tonkachi was the one that killed the nail mole, but actually when they're talking about it, they're saying it's a vigor type that could destroy the world. And it pans right over to Konosuke trying to pop the bubble with Renga, and Renga decides that he's also going to try and pop it, pulls out his vigor saw, and then he goes to slash, and that's when Tonkachi is moving. And I can't tell who that short old guy is who's referring to. If he's talking about like saying the Build King's making a move, is he talking about Tonkachi, or is he talking about Renga? I think that's the interesting little question right now between this guy, just who exactly is he monitoring? Because I'm wondering if maybe if Black Vigor can like destroy any vigor, like, you know, kind of like how when you have paint, black will always just kind of like darken other paints. So it's like maybe Black Vigor can just continuously destroy other vigors, whereas like the Gold Vigor is going to be continuously evolving. It's a really cool dynamic they have set up, and I would have expected Tonkachi to have like the darker power, but going over to Renga is pretty interesting. And like, how exactly it's going to play out with him if the story gets to continue, it is a real big mystery. And how exactly, like, are the villains going to try and go after him specifically then? Because Tonkachi, I would assume that Tonkachi is going to get continuously like way stronger, but Renga is going to one of those characters who has a very dangerous power, but he isn't that strong at the moment, and they would have to end up training where like they would have to try and go through Tonkachi. And I think they have a lot of characters probably stronger, but I think it would end up be going down that line of like you know, the big bad guy sending his minions to go do it before he does anything himself, kind of thing. So Tonkachi would probably have to fight a bunch of weaker people and then get stronger as it goes. But we'll see. I'm actually very interested to see how this progresses. I'm hoping that the rumor is not true and that Build the King is able to continue. Like I said, if it is, I would be more concerned with if Shimabukuro like is, you know, his normal status after this, because I would imagine getting a series canceled would really suck, and it would, you know, really bum you down. So I would just hope that if it is, like, if Build King does get axed, that he's able to pick himself up and try again if they'll let him. Otherwise, try and go to a different magazine and, you know, see if he still wants to you know, to try and make another series. Because I genuinely like Build King. I think the power system is really cool. I think the characters are really fun. This guy's got a big history of over-the-top action and adventure, so I'd really love to see how he would take Build King, but we'll see. The only thing right now that's like that I've read for the possibility of it not, you know, of it not being Build King is like the sales, I think, of Volume 1 have actually been pretty alright. So we'll see. Could go either way. Regardless of which, I've been enjoying it, and I would look forward to whatever Shimabukuro has following this. As long as it's a serious one. I'm not... I know he likes comedy too, but I like his action series with like actual story. So I'm hoping he doesn't try and do a gag series again after this. But so, regardless of which, like I said, I'm enjoying it. I hope that it's not going to get axed, and we'll see how things go from there. Anyway, other than that though, comment below, thumbs up the video, but friend the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos around that. I appreciate every star subscribe. Thank you all for listening.